In the heart of the great Akan lands, where the red earth kissed the roots of ancient baobab trees and drums echoed through the valleys, lived a fisherman named Ofori. He was a man of strength and calm, known for his deep respect for the spirits of the river. Ofori had 2 daughters, Anyin the elder and Amma the younger. Both were born under the same roof, yet carried hearts as different as the sun and the moon. Anyin was quiet, gentle, and thoughtful. She spent her mornings by the river, humming songs to the water spirits and helping her father weave nets. The elders often said she had the river's soul, calm on the surface, but deep with mystery. Ama, on the other hand, was fiery and beautiful, with eyes like burning coals. She longed for wealth and admiration, dreaming of a life beyond the humble fishing huts of her village. Their mother, Abina, had passed away when Amma was still small. Before she died, she whispered a blessing and a warning to her daughters. The river gives, and the river takes. Remember, my daughter's envy will turn sweet water bitter. But as years went by, those words faded like footprints in the sand. One morning, as dawn broke and mist curled over the river, Ofori fell ill. His breath became shallow, and his eyes dimmed like fading stars. Before he closed his eyes forever, he called his daughters close. "The river," he rasped, "will protect you. Promise to keep its peace, and keep peace between yourselves." When Ofori was buried, the sisters wept together. But grief soon turned into division. The villagers noticed how Ama began wearing bright cloths and gold beads that she couldn't afford. Rumors spread that she had been visiting the sacred river alone, offering gifts to the river goddess in exchange for wealth. Anyin tried to stop her. "Sister," she pleaded, "the river's blessings cannot be stolen. What you take without respect, it will demand back in pain." Ama laughed. "You speak like an old woman. I want life, not prayers." That night, the river shimmered under the moonlight. Ama returned to its banks with a gourd of palm oil, singing softly. But when she dropped her offering into the water, the river grew still to still. The frogs stopped croaking. The wind held its breath. Then, from the depths, a woman's voice whispered, "Child of greed, what will you give for what you ask?" Amma hesitated. "I'll give anything, even my sister's luck." The water rippled and a cold wind blew. The deal was made by Don Ama, awoke rich, her hut filled with golden cowries and fine cloths. But Anyin, her sister, found her nets empty, her crops wilted, and her body weak. The villagers whispered, "Perhaps the spirits have turned against her." Only the river knew the truth, and deep beneath its surface, something ancient stirred, watching, waiting. Days turned into weeks after Ama's secret offering, and the change in the sisters' lives became impossible to ignore. Ama's hut, once plain and worn, now shimmered with cloths dyed in indigo and gold. Every morning, villagers saw her walking through the market, bracelets jingling, laughter loud. She had become the envy of the whole village, but Anyin, her light began to fade. The fish no longer entered her nets. The fruits she gathered spoiled overnight. Even her laughter, once sweet and warm, became rare. Some said she had offended the gods. Others whispered she was cursed. Yet, through all her suffering, Anyin never spoke against her sister. Deep down, she still loved Ama, believing her sister's heart could not be truly wicked. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, Anyin wandered toward the river. She knelt by the bank, her hands trembling as she touched the cool water. "O sacred river," she whispered, "what have I done to deserve this sorrow?" The water rippled in answer. A soft, glowing light rose from beneath the surface, and a woman's figure appeared, her skin glistening like moonlit water, her hair flowing with reeds and shells. It was Asuo, the river goddess herself. Her voice was soft, but carried the weight of thunder. "Daughter of Ofori, your heart is pure, but your sister's greed has unbalanced the flow. What one takes unjustly, the other must pay." Anyin's eyes filled with tears. "Please, great mother of the river, spare her. She is my sister." The goddess looked at her with sorrow. "Mercy is not mine to give freely, child. Tell your sister to return what she took, or the river will take what it is owed in blood." Before Anyin could reply, the vision faded. The river was calm again, as though nothing had happened. She ran home, her heart pounding. Ama was sitting by the fire, surrounded by villagers, admiring her new jewelry. Anyin rushed to her sister. "Listen to me. The river goddess spoke to me. You must undo what you've done, return what you took, or disaster will come." Ama's eyes turned sharp. "You're jealous, Anyin. The goddess favors me, not you. You cannot stand my good fortune." Anyin tried to grab her hand, but Ama pulled away and shouted, "Leave me alone, cursed one." The villagers gasped. Even the fire crackled in silence. Anyin turned away, tears falling quietly onto the red earth. That night, dark clouds gathered without wind. Thunder rolled across the hills, though no lightning followed. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of wet clay. Ama awoke to a sound, the river calling her name. It was a whisper at first, then a chant. "Ama, return what you took." Frightened, she stepped outside. The village slept, but the river glowed faintly in the distance. Drawn by unseen hands, she walked toward it. The closer she came, the louder the chant grew. When she reached the bank, the reflection in the water was not hers. It was Anyin's face, pale and sorrowful, whispering, "You have betrayed the river." "And me," Ama screamed, and the reflection vanished by morning. The villagers found strange marks along the riverbank. The elders murmured prayers. They said the river mother had left a warning. If balance was not restored, the entire village would pay. And far away, thunder rumbled again, closer this time. The storm that had whispered over the hills finally came. For 3 days, the rain fell without rest. The river, once gentle and calm, swelled and roared, tearing through fields and flooding the paths between huts. Chickens vanished. Cows were swept away. The people huddled together in fear as thunder shook the earth. The village elder, Nana Kweku, gathered the people beneath the sacred baobab tree. "This storm is no storm," he said gravely. "It is the anger of Usuo, the river goddess. Someone has broken the ancient covenant." Everyone turned toward Ama. Her wealth had come too suddenly. Her hut alone stood dry amid the flood. Her gold shone brighter than before, even under the dark clouds. Ama stood proudly at first. "I have done nothing wrong," she cried. But her voice trembled. "Why do you look at me so?" Anyin, drenched and pale, stepped forward. "Because the goddess spoke, Ama. She warned that what you took must be returned." The elder's eyes softened. "Child, if you have made an offering wrongly, The river will forgive you if you confess and seek mercy. But Amma turned away, anger burning in her chest. I will not bow to the river. My offering was accepted. You are all jealous of what I have earned. As the words left her mouth, a great flash of lightning struck the ground near her feet. The villagers screamed and scattered. The ground cracked open, and water burst from beneath, flooding her hut and sweeping away her gold dot. Amma tried to run, but the water pulled at her ankles, cold and heavy like 1,000 hands. Amma, Anyin shouted, rushing forward, grabbing her sister's arm. Hold on. The sisters struggled, the river's fury all around them. The sky flashed, revealing a towering figure in the storm, a Suo, her eyes glowing like blue fire. I warned you both, the goddess thundered. Balance must be restored. Anyin bowed her head. Take me, great mother. Let her live. The goddess looked at her with pity. You would give your life for the one who betrayed you. Because she is my sister, Anyin whispered. The river stilled. The rain softened. For a moment, even the thunder grew silent. Then the goddess spoke again, her voice softer than rain on leaves. Your heart is pure, Anyin, but your sister's debt is her own. Amma cried out, please, spare me. The goddess raised her hand. The waters around Amma rose like a serpent, shimmering and alive. But before they could strike, Anyin stepped in front of her sister. The current wrapped around them both, and in an instant they were gone. When the storm finally cleared, the village lay quiet under a washed-out sky. The river had returned to its calm self, as if nothing had happened. Days passed. The people mourned the sisters, believing them lost forever. But one morning, a young boy fetching water at dawn saw 2 figures reflected in the river, 2 sisters, smiling faintly before fading with the ripples. From that day onward, the river flowed clearer than ever. Fish returned in abundance. The crops grew twice as strong. But near its deepest bend, villagers claimed to hear soft voices at night. When the storm passed and the river calmed, the people believed the sisters had perished. The village mourned them with drumming and song, as was the custom for those taken by the spirits. But deep within the heart of the river, beyond the reach of light, Anyin and Amma were not dead. They awoke in a place neither earth nor sky, a world of shimmering blue, where the water glowed softly and the currents sang ancient songs. The air was warm and full of life. Fish with silver scales swam in circles around them, and the trees along the riverbed swayed as though alive. Amma looked around in fear. Where are we, sister? Anyin placed a hand on her shoulder. We are in the realm of Usuo, the mother of the river. A soft glow brightened before them, and the goddess appeared once more, her robes flowing like water, her face kind yet powerful. Sisters, she said, your love has tested the heart of the river. One was consumed by greed, the other by mercy. Both must now learn balance. Ama fell to her knees. Forgive me, great mother. I wanted only to rise above poverty, to be seen, to be loved. The goddess touched her head gently. Desire is not evil, child, but when it drowns compassion, it poisons all it touches. Look at what your envy brought. Ama began to weep. Her tears fell into the river and turned into pearls. The goddess gathered them in her palm. These pearls will remind you of what you have lost and what you can still gain. If your heart is true, she turned to Anyin. pure-hearted one would sacrifice your life for another's sins. Your soul is full of light, but even light must learn to protect itself. Mercy without wisdom can lead to ruin. Anyin bowed her head. Then teach us, Mother. We wish to make things right. The goddess smiled faintly and lifted her hands. The water around them began to swirl, forming images of their village. The people rebuilding huts, planting new crops, singing songs to appease the spirits. You shall return, Asuo said, but not as before. One of you will live among the living, the other will dwell within the river's heart. Only together will peace remain. Ama's eyes widened. Which of us will stay? The goddess said nothing. The water around them glowed brighter and brighter until everything became pure light. When the brightness faded, Ama found herself lying on the riverbank. The sky was blue again, birds singing above. Her gold was gone, her hands empty, but her heart was light. She looked around desperately. Anyin, sister. Only the sound of the river answered. But as Ama leaned closer, the water shimmered, forming her sister's reflection. Anyin smiled up at her. Do not cry, Ama. The river has chosen. I will watch over you and our people from beneath the waters. Ama fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. I will honor you, sister. I will honor the river. Never again will I betray love for greed. And from that day on, Ama became the village's river keeper. She tended to the waters, taught the children to respect the spirits, and offered gifts of peace, not for wealth, but for gratitude. Whenever she sang by the river, the surface rippled softly, and a gentle voice hummed along, the voice of Anyin. The villagers said the two sisters were no longer divided by betrayal, but bound forever by love, one on land, one in the depths, protecting the balance between humankind and the spirit world. Many seasons passed after the river took Anyin. The village, once struck by flood and sorrow, was now alive with laughter again. The harvests were full, the fish plentiful, and the rains gentle. People said the river had forgiven them, and the balance between humans and spirits had been restored. At the center of this peace was Ama, now humble, wise, and changed. The once proud and glittering woman had become a guardian of the sacred waters. Every morning she carried offerings of flowers and fruits to the riverbank. She no longer asked for gold or wealth, only for peace and protection for her people. Children gathered around her to hear stories. She told them of her sister. Anyin was the river's heart, she said softly. And when envy tried to drown love, it was love that saved us all. Her words became lessons. Parents taught their children never to let jealousy divide family, and always to honor the spirits that dwell in nature. The story of the two sisters spread far beyond the village, carried by traders and travelers who stopped to rest by the river. But sometimes, at dusk, strange things happened. The river would glow faintly, even when there was no moon. The villagers said it was Anyin watching over them. Women washing clothes by the water sometimes heard gentle laughter, and those who came with kind hearts found their burdens lighter after leaving. Ama grew older. Her hair turned white like river foam, her steps slower. Yet she still visited the water each dawn. She would kneel at the same place where she and her sister had once played as children and whisper, "Sister, I am still here." And every time, the river rippled softly in answer. One evening, when the sun sank low, and painted the sky in orange and gold. Ama felt a calling deep within her soul. She walked alone to the river, dressed in white cloth, carrying a single gourd of palm wine, her final offering. "Great Mother of the River," she said, her voice trembling, "I have served you as I promised. I have honored my sister's name. If it pleases you, let me rest beside her now." A breeze swept across the water, warm and sweet. The surface shimmered, and the faint outline of a familiar face appeared. Anyin, smiling. "It is time, sister," she whispered. Ama closed her eyes. When the villagers came searching for her the next morning, they found her white cloth folded neatly by the river's edge. But Amma herself was gone. The people wept, though not in sorrow. They built 2 small shrines beside the water, one for Anyin, the spirit of mercy, and one for Amma, the guardian of balance. Every year, when the rains returned, the villagers gathered to sing their song. The river gives, the river takes, but love remains, for love awakes. 2 sisters bound by heart and tide, one above, one deep inside. From then on, it was said that as long as the people respected the river, no storm would harm them, and no drought would last long. The water became sacred, a symbol of forgiveness, unity, and the eternal bond between sisters. And so the story of Anyin and her sister's betrayal lived on, told by firesides and moonlight, carried in songs and whispered prayers, a tale to remind every soul that greed may wound, but love, when true, can heal even the anger of the gods.